Welcome to If This Bar Could Talk, a podcast about bartenders and the stories they have to tell, as well as the storied history of cocktails, spirits, and bars. I'm Blair Beavers, and here's your host, Leanne Sims.
And our guest tonight is PJ Ford, who is the cocktail director at the Light of Seven Matchsticks. Welcome to the show, PJ.
Hi.
So you guys were just named by Big Seven Travel. You were on their list of the 50 best bars in America. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Did you know that was coming?
No.
That's awesome.
I had no idea. I didn't see it until you guys posted it.
How did you get on that list?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. So probably a secret shopper came in at some point.
I would assume so. Someone, because Big Seven did name us for like best bars in Columbus, I think, like a couple months back, or was it Ohio? So I imagine like someone came around and like went through all these bars, and then we were impressed them enough to they name us top 50.
So it's not only impressive because top 50 in America is a big deal, but top 50 or just being named of all the competition you have here in Columbus. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we do have amazing talent here.
Yeah. Some of the best. I just had a friend who went to Detroit, and he was like, I was kind of like, not like he wasn't unimpressed or anything, but he was just like, I just can't believe like there's like, it's competition, you know, It's not like anyone's blowing anyone out of the water. Everyone's doing something different. Everyone's doing something unique. And it's like stuff in Columbus was unique compared to other stuff in Detroit. And so, yeah, it's pretty.
We say that
nice.
all the time. We think Columbus has the best bartenders in the country.
Yeah.
We really believe that. And you are very, what do I want to say?
Highly awarded.
Highly awarded. No, that's
winning
not what
lots of competition.
You win a lot of stuff.
decorated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Highly decorated bartender. Let's see. Where's my list? Oh, High Bank Distillery Cocktail Showdown. You won fan favorite. Is that right?
Yeah.
Last year, the Espelon Cocktail Fights, you and your partner Jillian Smith won fan favorite on that as well.
In the Nationals, yeah.
That's pretty amazing. And then there have been various other competitions around town that you've either won or been fan favorite. That's amazing. So tell me about your creative process at Light of Seven Matchsticks.
It's kind of inspired by bits and pieces kind of all over the place. Like I've been inspired by a sesame bagel before, so and gone on to create what I consider a fantastic cocktail. But so it can start off.
What about a sesame bagel inspired you to make a cocktail?
So I went to visit my friend in New York, and I had a sesame bagel, and for some reason I just thought Campari. I'm like, this tastes like Campari to me for whatever reason. So I'm like, how can I get sesame and Campari together? Immediately, I think Negroni. How do I get sesame oil into a Negroni? I'll probably need like an egg to kind of help suspend all the oils throughout the liquid. Then I just made a Negroni flip with sesame oil, and it was like wildly fantastic.
Wow.
So like, it's just small things like that, or it can just be inspired by a product. There's like a beautiful tasting product, and I'm like, this is great. Let me see what I can do with this, and I'll taste it and see what kind of things come to mind.
And do you have seasonal cocktail menus? Do you change them out with the seasons?
So we do biannually because our kitchen's the same kitchen as Natalie's Coal Fire Pizza, which we're underneath. And so if we did it quarterly, that'd be 8 menus for that kitchen to change. So it's like logistically, it's just a lot. Mm-hmm. So we do biannually, and then we have like weekly cocktail specials, and then we'll do random events with like we have burlesque night, which we always have like completely different cocktails based on the dancers. Mm-hmm. Then we have a whiskey and jazz night, which is a completely different cocktail list. We're starting up a new comedy night. Shameless plugs here. Sorry.
No, so that is stand up from the waist up.
Yeah.
I wish I would have thought of that. I'm so jealous. That's on October 29th.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Like the comedians are behind the bar, so you can only see waist up. And they do a lot of playing with that, you know, as cheesy as it can be, like going down the stairs or in multiple various creative ways as well. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get Dino Tripodis to do an improv cocktail competition at the Shadowbox Live.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Like bartenders have to make stuff up on the fly, or tell them to make a Manhattan but don't have any sweet vermouth behind the bar, something crazy like that.
Yeah. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
We used to, when I worked at Mouton, we would always play that. We'd like bring out like weird random ingredients. Where like, I think once I did like, I like some weird liquor that was in like a dusty bottle in the basement. And then I gave a doer's cap to Colt. Did you know Colt? I
don't think so.
He was like the bar manager there just briefly. And he made this fantastic cocktail and served it with a little like sidecar in the doer's glass.
Wow.
So we'd always like kind of do that. And we'd have customers bring in stuff and we'd make something with whatever they brought in. Like, so it was just, we had to do it on the fly.
How long have you been bartending?
6 years.
What's your background? We met you 2-3 years ago when you were at Home Fair, but where else have you been?
So I got my start in bartending at Giuseppe's. A friend of mine was like, we need a bar back. Do you want to do it? I was like, sure. And I always kind of thought about bartending because I thought it was like golden party, but I started there and I was quickly intrigued by like the creative process and like all the different like Amaros really caught my interest like early on because they were just like beautifully designed bottles. They had like very interesting flavors. And it was just like something I'd never even heard of before. So I was like, what is this? And kind of started diving into that. And, they have an amazing bar program over there. And so I was there for a few years. I bartended and served at the table for a while. Then I went on to Mouton. I worked at Mouton for a little bit. And then I got stir crazy and quit both my jobs. And I ended up bartending in Beirut, Lebanon for 6 months. And then I moved back, and that's when I started at Home Fair. And since then, I've just been at Matchsticks.
Why Beirut?
My sister lives there. And so I spent like a few months traveling back and forth, and I could either buy a ticket to go home or to Lebanon, and I chose Lebanon.
So what was that like?
It's very much, I think like in America, we live in a bubble, as most like other like kind of isolated countries do. But like going over to Lebanon, it's just like standards are different. So like my standard is not their standard. And like the biggest example where I was kind of like blown out of the water was a French 75. And someone was like, make a French 75. I need one like on the fly. And so I make one. And they're like, what is this? And I'm like, French 75. They're like, it's not pink. And Mouton actually used to do it. They'd add a little dash of Peychaud's and give it like this like slight pink hue. But like in Beirut, they're known as pink for grenadine. They add like grenadine to it. And like that's the standard. Like everyone knows it that way. There's even like a weird like shaking method that most people do.
But that's not real. That's not a French 75.
But like if you were to grow up in that world in Beirut, like that's what it's known as. Like that's like the kind of mentality I had to get used to. Like all these cocktails where I've learned them one way, this whole culture has learned it this way. And so like it was very interesting trying to be like, oh, like it's all relative,
So that's very much like the first time I ordered a martini cocktail in Italy. It came out and it was pinkish. And I asked them what was that, and they explained what it was. It was a perfect.
Oh, okay.
But for them, that was the martini cocktail.
Yeah. So
that's just how they, without even thinking about it. It wasn't gin dry with a twist. It was a perfect.
Yeah. Like it's funny, like we get wrapped into like what we think is the norm. But yeah, you go to France, you go to Italy, you go to Lebanon, you go to Japan, and like the norms vary kind of different on the culture. So
that's interesting.
It was a learning curve and it was a challenge, but like it was interesting just to see how other people do things differently.
So do you speak the language, or do most people there speak English?
I had like a crash course in Arabic once I learned, like lived there, like I had to kind of, but I like forgot it as soon as I like cramming for a test, and then you forget all the information right afterwards.
That's the best way to learn, though.
Yeah. I mean, most people spoke English, but I, out of like respect of like where I'm living, tried to learn it, and I could take orders and I could, ask people for what I needed and stuff like that. So I learned some good basics, but yeah, now it's all.
Why does your sister live there? Is she in the military?
No, she works for an NGO. So she's been there 5 years, but she's also lived in like Haiti, South Sudan, France, kind of like all over the place.
Cool.
And she's getting married to the guy she met there, and I'm super excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Congratulations, PJ's sister.
Yes.
So from Lebanon, then you came back. You went to work at Mouton.
Home Fair.
Home Fair.
Mouton
that's where we
was
met
like
you.
pretty full on staff, so they didn't really have space for me. So a friend of mine knew the owner of Home Fair, and so they're like, hey, they're super slammed. It was restaurant week, and they're like, they just need someone to come in tonight. Like, any chance you can do it? And it was Friday night. I had nothing to do, and I had no money. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I go there, I work the shift, and then they're like, so you want to work here, right? I'm like, yeah. And so I worked there for about a year.
Well, so when we first met you, we went to Home Fair because we knew Blair knows the chef, and what was his name, Matt?
Matt, yeah.
And it was Lentib.
Yeah, and he's just a wonderful chef. So we went there for food, and we had low expectations for the cocktail, and you were there, and we were like, holy shit, this kid knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when we put you on our cocktail tour. But then you left, and I don't think I've ever told you this story. So we continued with them on our cocktail tour, but not for long.
Okay.
So one day we went in for our cocktail tour, and I had to be the bartender because the bartender had no idea what to do. And I don't know shit. I don't even make my own drinks at home. But I got behind the bar and just pretended like I was a bartender.
Did the people on the tour know you were filling in, or?
Yeah, because two of them are our neighbors, but the other ones, they didn't really care.
And they had, I think, in the back bar, they still had your recipes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So
It was the one with like Solera, blood orange, and I can't remember what all it was, but
I don't remember.
Yeah.
What was there
yeah, I
anymore.
just pretended like I was a bartender.
Yeah, that describes Home Fair.
Yeah, so
Recipes.
and now it's a bagel shop.
Yeah.
yeah, but that was crazy. So you can have some pretty cool events at Light of Seven Matchsticks. We just mentioned the stand up from the waist up on October 29th, and then Speak Teasy on November 6th. I assume that's a burlesque show. So you guys have Natalie's coal-fired pizza upstairs.
Yes.
And she has music.
Live music every night.
Okay. Every night.
Well, Tuesday through Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you guys are, you're a speakeasy, so you got to go down the steps. You don't have any signage or anything, do you?
No.
Yeah.
There's like a little red lamp indicates.
And can you tell us about Natalie's South, which is opening?
Grandview? Yeah. Well, I guess it's technically not Grandview, but yeah, they're hoping to be open by November. It's going to be a unique space compared to the old one, at least because the old one shared the venue and the dining room. So come showtime, if you didn't have a ticket, you couldn't really eat there unless it's the weather permitted for you to eat on patio. But this will be similar skeletal structure of King Avenue 5. That's the space we're taking over. And so there'll be a venue space, and then there'll be the restaurant as well. So it's going to be more centered on food. Well, I mean, of course food, but less focused on pizza. There will still be pizza there. There'll be more entree options. The bar is going to be pretty streamlined, pretty easygoing. Beer, wine, cocktails, but like nothing like on like Matchsticks level because it's just like too high volume for that. So it's going to be more like, classics, well executed, maybe with like a little twist, cocktail wise, a good selection of beers, good selection of wine to help like pair with the food well. And then over in the venue, they'll have like a separate food menu.
But you're going to create the cocktail program.
Maybe. We'll see. If I play my cards right.
So I assume then that the rules are not going to be the same because there are rules at Light of Seven Matchsticks. They're on your website, and the rules are, I really like them. They're come with those whose company you enjoy because there's no cell phone service.
Yep.
No kids. I like that.
No kids.
Then you got to find the secret menu. And then politics, religion, and sex are highly encouraged topics of conversation.
Highly.
And be respectful. Those are the rules at the Light of Seven Matchsticks.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, it's not asking too much.
Not at all. Not at all.
Encouraging debate, healthy arguments,
There you go.
Good conversation. Find out where other people are coming from.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's a fun place. We enjoy it. So, PJ, we are going to take a break now, and you're going to make us a cocktail. What are you going to make for us tonight?
It's called Inflating Caesar's Ego. It's Irish gin, Aperol, grapefruit, lemon, absinthe, and horseradish, served with a piece of black pepper pecorino cheese.
Oh, wow. A snack, too.
Yeah.
Love that.
You
Awesome.
don't even need dinner anymore. Yeah.
We are back with Inflating Caesar's Ego. This beautiful, is it peach color? Is that, would you say peach?
Yeah,
or would you say
peach.
salmon maybe?
My nickname's Peach, so let's go with Peach.
Peach. It's a beautiful peach cocktail. And with a side of cheese. What's the cheese again?
Black pepper pecorino.
Black pepper. Oh, I love black pepper. So what was the point of pairing the...
It's just kind of like a nice little savory bite to kind of tie the horseradish in. So a little sip, then a little bite, a little sip, a little bite.
So sip first and then bite.
All right,
Okay,
so
here we
cheers
go.
first.
Cheers.
Cheers. Clink, ching ching. These very full glasses.
My chair is very squeaky.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's dry, citrusy, a little bitter, and then you eat the cheese, and it's like a little salty.
Tell us what's in it.
Drumshambo, Irish gunpowder gin. It's got like that nice kind of earthy. They use gunpowder green tea, so it has like a big earthy quality to the gin.
Okay.
And grapefruit, Aperol, lemon, absinthe, and just like a splash like of simple syrup, just to alleviate some of like the harsher flavors going on, and the horseradish. And I think that kind of helps with like the citrus, and then you have the earthiness of like the gin, and then you have like kind of like horseradish has that kind of citrusy bite, but also kind of like more savoriness to it. So I think that helps tie that in with the grapefruit. And then you have this bitterness, so you like eat this cheese and you get like saltiness, and then you kind of go back and forth, and it's like thirst quenching.
Salt and pepper.
Yeah.
What made you put horseradish in a cocktail? It's delicious. I love horseradish, but I would never think to put it in a cocktail.
I think I made the drink by itself, and I just kind of was thinking horseradish. I was just kind of like searching through my brain, like
What's missing?
Yeah, what's missing? What can? And I love like savory cocktails. I love adding savory elements. Like I've had one that uses Maggi. That like it's basically just MSG, but it's like I had one that used that. We did like a lamb leg infused rum before, so I just love adding like savory elements to a drink. And horseradish is like kind of like a nice bridge with its like bite, but it's also got like a savory, deeper flavor to it. And I was like, yeah, that'd be good.
It's delicious.
And then we have this cheese at work, and I was eating it, and I'm like, you know what, this would be great. And
it does
with
go
that
really
cocktail.
well. It's good cheese. I love cheese.
And if anything, you just got cheese.
Yeah.
So
What do you think about the cocktail, Blair?
I love it. Completely unexpected.
Yeah.
With the ingredients that he was putting in there, I did not think it would be this. It really is a citrusy, very light, but then there's that savory kick to it. It's very complex, but it's awesome.
it's the bottom line. I'm glad to
So
hear it. Thank
good.
you.
Yeah. Well done. So
Thank you.
with all of your travels and you've been around to different bars, tell us a good bar story.
Bar story.
It can be anything.
Anything?
Anything at all.
So many. So
Be a weird tip or just a weird experience, weird, crazy customers.
so many. So many of those.
People misbehaving.
I'm
I'm sure there are plenty of those.
Is that a personal story for me or a customer?
It can be. That's happened before.
No, actually, I was thinking this over a lot. So I thought I would like tie along some stories that have like a little lesson to them. Because the other ones I was telling some of my coworkers, like, would this fly? And they're like, don't say that. So I'm going to do, so the couple of stories I had was, they're short. When I was working at Giuseppe's, the barbacks had to get bread and butter for the people at the bar. And so if they order food, you give them bread and butter, and I run out and I have these tongs and I tong down a roll and then a little ramekin of butter. And I hear, butter boy, as I'm like walking away, and I like turn around, there's like blood coming out of my ears. I'm like, yeah. It's like, bring us more butter boy. And I like was furious and enraged, and I was like, words that I'm not gonna say. But now I've told people that at work, and one of our highest selling cocktails is a cocktail with brown butter infused bourbon. So I'm always like browning butter, and everyone's like, butter boy. So I guess the lesson is, be who you truly are.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm a butter boy.
Or don't tell your friends some stories.
Yeah.
Brown butter
Bourbon. Yeah.
Tell me how you do that.
Just brown up butter, cook it until like all like the kind of like the milky solids start to solidify, and like the butter gets like this nutty smell and like this brownish hue to it, and then we just pour it into bourbon, sous vide it for like an hour, and then freeze it, and so all the solids freeze, and then we just strain through a coffee filter, and then you have like buttered washed bourbon.
That is just so amazing to me.
It's pretty yummy.
We're gonna have to try that next time we go.
If you want any leftover butter, you're welcome to.
Oh,
cook
wow.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's all yours.
All right, tell us another bar story. You said you had two.
Okay. Oh, now the pressure's on. I forgot. In Lebanon, well, that was kind of one of the ones I was kind of geared towards too. It was just like that. Everything's relative, you know? You can boil down your cocktails to like a science, and someone's not going to like it, you know, because it's all subjective.
Sure.
It's all relative. I had a better story, and now it's slipping my brain. And I thought it had to do with Jill and I.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah.
So how did you learn how to cocktail? How did you learn all this stuff?
Well, I had a good start. I think a lot of people get their start in more high volume bars where they're not messing around with a lot of cocktails. And at Giuseppe's, like watching Sean Ward, their bar manager, who's just like this crazy wealth of knowledge, and probably like he owns his bar like no one I've ever seen before. He knows like every single person who walks in, and if he doesn't, he knows them by the end, and he'll remember the name when they come in 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
And their dog's name, you know, and then he has a wealth of knowledge about sports, history, music, obviously spirits and the alcohol world. So he can just talk to anyone about anything. And he's fantastic with making drinks. And then I went to Mouton, where Logan was the manager at the time, Logan Demi. And he's just like, he's very, like, I remember the first cocktail I remember learning there was down the Mississippi, and it was bourbon, lime, grenadine, mustard. So that was kind of like where my whole thing of like,
Mustard.
like, yeah, I was just like, he just shatters walls, you know? So I'm like, I would never have thought like food and cocktail together,
Yeah.
you know? And so going from Deshaun, who has like that amazing customer, I mean, both these guys are great in all domains, but like Sean with that kind of thing, and then Logan with his just like insane creativity with cocktails. I think I just had like an awesome upbringing and got to learn. And I had the drive to buy as many books as I could, you know, watch as many YouTube channels as I could.
What's your favorite cocktail book?
The one I think that had a really big impact on me was by Dave Embry. It was, now the name's escaping me for this. Oh my gosh, now I just sound like a poser.
Right.
But but like I was taught very like much like early on, the formula for this cocktail is like for a sour cocktail would be like 2 parts spirit, 1 part sour, 1 part sweet. And he kind of broke it down to this, like, where you can have that formula and you can also have this super dry formula and you can have a sweeter formula. And like, he was like, and these are my preferences. And then it just kind of made me think about my own preferences, where I don't mind the 2 to 1 to 1 ratio, but I do find it's like heavy in my stomach. There's a lot of acidity going on. There's a lot of sweet and like sugar going on. And I'm like, yeah, I think I do prefer that like drier style. And then I tried it that way. And then it kind of just broke me out of my cage. The fine art of mixing cocktails. That's it. Sorry. It broke me out of like the cage I was in of like keeping these formulas for everything I was creating. And then I'm like, oh, like I don't have to follow that. And I can find something that suits me. And there's people who probably like what I like.
Sure.
And they're looking for these kind of drinks too.
That's awesome. But you also have obviously a very good palate.
I hope.
Yeah, because like I couldn't concoct anything.
You do.
Yeah,
you do.
You definitely do.
Well, thank you.
You couldn't put these things together without having a good palate, which I do not have, which is why I don't make cocktails.
And I'll never forget the first time that we took the tour to Home Fair and you were there and you had this whole chart of flavor wheel and this is where we're tasting this, and that's why you're tasting this other thing, because it's balancing here. And it was
very informative.
Good.
Our guests,
and we could tell you were geeking out over it, which was awesome. It got everyone excited about it.
I remember one person didn't like it because there was like a Lafroig mist over top, and so like they didn't like the smokiness, which I don't mind if someone doesn't like something, as long as they have like the reason. And I remember like there's a spectrum of people who had different perceptions of it. Some people just loved it, and the person who didn't like it had a very good reason. It wasn't just like, I don't like it. Like, and she like spoke really like, it has this like smoky flavor that reminds me of this, and I don't like appreciate that for whatever reason. And so the fact she was like digging into memories for her flavor, I was like, this is amazing, because that's what it's about. Like, even if it's bad and it's evoking a memory, not bad, but like something you don't agree with and it's evoking a memory, like that's still cool.
Yeah.
You know, I find that like fascinating. So I was so happy with that class.
I do too. Like cocktails are, in spirits, it's about the story and not just the past, but the present and, maybe the future, but it's all about the story.
I do classes at the Franklin Park Conservatory, and I just did a bourbon one. And I'm not like the end all be all expert on bourbon, but I just brought in 3 different bourbons. We did a blind tasting, and the exercise was not anything but describe what you're tasting. It wasn't like trying to guess anything or like who's correct on what flavor profile or whatever. Like, because some people are just struggling, like, I don't know what I'm tasting. And I would just kind of push them, like, what does it make you think of? Does it remind you of anything? And some person would say, like, reminds me of like a horse stable. I'm like, that's amazing. Like, I would get so excited when I'm like, that's cool. Like, yeah, you don't always have to be like, it's like sour cherries and like, if anything it evokes. Like, I did a gin tasting when I worked at Mouton. We did tastings every Monday, and we did gin. And I said burnt hair, and everyone's looking at me like, how the hell would you know? Because I'm really bald, people. But they're like, how the hell would you know? And like, it doesn't really matter as long as it's like pushing your imagination and kind of making you think of these flavors, and then you get cheese and horseradish.
Yeah.
So.
I do say the same thing at the Women in Whiskey tastings. We always make a tasting mat with the flavor profiles of what they say you should taste, but I never taste those things, or I generally don't. So I just tell everyone, figure out what you like. And if you like this, you might not taste the cherry or the wood or whatever, but if you like it, then remember the flavor that you like, and then you know what you want to drink, what you want to stock at your house.
Yeah. Because it's personal, and it's all the power of suggestion. You can be like, oh yeah, there's definite flavors of hazelnut in here, and everyone's gonna be like, yeah, I get that,
Yes.
So I think it's very important to just go in blind and just what do you feel?
Yeah.
Even if it's burnt hair and barnyard, whatever,
So
Overripe bananas.
Yeah, like that's like, it's just what you imagine on the first taste, and then you know like you like that or disagree with it, and you can move on.
So the burnt hair thing, is that like a positive, a good thing, something you enjoy, or is this something that you wouldn't want to taste again because it reminds you of burnt hair?
This is a really dumb story. But all right, here's your second story. So in like middle school, I used to take my mom's hair straightener, and I would straighten my hair when I had hair. And sometimes I'd leave it on too long and it'd burn. And it reminded me of being in my mom's room, burning my hair.
That's kind of a sweet story in a weird, twisted way.
Yeah, very, very. But evoking that memory, you know, so it's not like
cool.
a bad memory. It's not like a... It's kind of nothing.
It's
memory.
It's your life.
No,
yeah.
And we know that smell and memory is completely connected.
Yeah. They're like the closest two senses. So like, yeah. So
it was comforting and took you back.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
So there's
Very
your.
cool. Thank you for that.
Of course.
That story. So light us Seven Matchsticks. Tell us the address and when you're open.
Address is below 5601 North High Street. We're open Wednesday through Sunday with comedy nights now on Tuesdays. Not all Tuesdays, but keep an eye out. I'm not going to give too much away.
Wait, and the comedy nights, they're held in the bar? Because that's a very small area. How do you fit everyone?
So the way it's designed, you know how it is. It's kind of like there's booths parallel with the bar.
Yeah.
So if we held it at either end of the bar, no one would be able to see anything. So that's why we call it stand up from the waist up, because the comedians are behind the bar.
Gotcha.
So everyone can kind of have a fair chance to look at the comedian.
And do you like stop service for a while they're performing, or
no
work around them?
We keep it going. Yeah.
Okay.
They're aware, and we give them microphones and everything, so like they can speak over any kind of noise that's going on. Mm-hmm. And we kind of cater the cocktail to be more stirred focus, so it's not like a lot of shaking and rattling. Mm-hmm. But because they're also behind the bar, they're out of the way of the floor, so we're not getting in their way really. We're kind of conscious of that. But
and then the burlesque show, same kind of deal. They're like on the bar top, or
they really want to be, but there's not enough headspace. There's like
it's not a tall. It's a basement.
Yeah, it's a basement with like very low ceilings, and there's been a few who've just tried to like they come in to like work out their routine, and like it's just too short, and we have like the dangling lights from the ceiling already too. But they do it through the walkway between the booths and the bar.
Okay.
And so it's kind of they're amazing at it too.
So it's kind of tight, I would assume.
Yeah, it's very tight, but it's nice because it just brings everyone in, and they do a great job at making sure like they're walking back and forth and like dancing so everyone, even if they are like in the back of the booth, like they get like a piece of the show, and they play with everyone at the bar, and they do everything like they really use the space to their advantage.
That's very
cool. It's really fun.
I love burlesque shows.
You need to get up for that.
Is there an extra charge for these shows?
Comedy night, we do charge tickets. The one coming up is $8.
Okay, that's very reasonable.
The whiskey and jazz night with the pocketbooks is free, and then burlesque is also free.
When is the whiskey and jazz night again?
Whiskey and jazz is the last Sunday of every month.
Last Sunday.
Burlesque is the first Wednesday.
First Wednesday. What's your turnout like on a Wednesday? Is it usually pretty good?
For burlesque, it's fantastic.
Okay.
And then like, it can range from, pretty standard Wednesday bar turnout to kind of weirdly crazy for whatever reason, so.
And the burlesque, is that ticketed also?
No.
Okay.
But you can tip your dancers. We can do it through your tab, or you can give them money, or they have like a little sticker, like a Venmo
nice.
kind of thing that you can like take a picture of and send money to.
Smart.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the whiskey and jazz scene is like probably one of the coolest scenes I feel like I'm in some cool movie where like all the stars meet, and there's like Andy Warhol and Miles Davis all in the same bar. I just feel like that's the bar. So
cool.
It's got a very cool scene.
And you teach mixology at Franklin Park, or you do tastings, or Is it a mix?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of things. So we did the bourbon tasting, and I kind of broke it up into like traditional bourbon, high rye bourbon, wheated bourbon, and then with each one, after each taste, we do like a cocktail. But then I've done like cocktail classes where it's like, this is the evolution of a cosmopolitan, from like a gimlet to a kamikaze to a Cosmo, or old fashions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to check
So it's
that
usually
out.
once a month I'm doing something there.
So how many people are generally in your classes?
Anywhere from 5 to 15.
And then is it like, do you stand in front of everyone and demonstrate everything, or are people actively doing it?
Oh yeah, they're doing it. I don't let them not do it.
Awesome.
Like, yeah, so like everyone will get a shaker or a mixing glass, and they make their own cocktail. Actually, the first one I did was called Drink Your Eggs, and I had everyone make a Ramos gin fizz, and I was astounded by how well everyone did. Everyone got like the head coming up above the glass and everything. I was like, you guys are amazing.
You must be a good instructor then.
I don't know. Their pisco sours weren't great, but yeah, the Ramos gin fizz was incredible. It was weird.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So, Light of Seven Matchsticks, Franklin Park Conservatory. What else? Oh, the Natalie's Woodfire in Grandview will be opening soonish.
Maybe November. Plan in November.
Looking forward to that, actually.
Keep an eye out.
We need to get you guys on our cocktail tour.
Yeah, you should. And actually, I was brainstorming this. You could do Villanova over the counter and Matchsticks, or you can do over the counter Natalie's and Matchsticks.
What's over the counter?
It's right across the street from Natalie's and Matchsticks.
Never heard of it.
It's like a kind of like a dinery scene that they have going on, but they pulled the head bartender from the athletic club.
Oh.
So they have like quite a cocktail menu. And then you can do over the counter, then you can do Natalie's, and then you can do Matchsticks. And now you have no excuse
to not go to Worthington.
You cannot hide from me anymore.
So tell
That's
us about your other staff there. Who do you have there that we should know and should be looking for? And
well, you guys know Carlos Bermudez.
Yep. Oh, he's there now?
Yeah, he's been with us for over 2 years, I think. And he's hilarious. He's incredibly passionate, incredibly kind, and creative. We also have Willie Wilson, who's a transplant from Colorado, born in Seattle, and again, just incredibly knowledgeable about anything spirits related. Like half the meetings we're at, actually, they're like, "So what is this?" And I'm like, "Willie, why don't you take it from here?" Parker Lewis, who is an amazing singer-songwriter, guitarist. He has his own band, Louis, not Parker, Louis, and he's in our pocketbooks who play for the Whiskey Jazz Night.
Okay.
They're fantastic.
So he's bartender and musician.
Yes.
Cool.
Great at both. Lucy King, who worked at One Line for years. So she has a great palate coming from coffee. Also an American.
We hear that a lot.
Yeah,
it's like Logan.
Yeah, Logan started off in coffee, and so it's funny how a lot of people transition to one or the other. Because Jordan from Bottle Shop is now in coffee at Fox and Snow.
Oh.
So it's like,
And
it's
he's
like,
at Service Bar as well.
Oh, he is? Oh, okay, I didn't know he was there. But yeah, it seems like it's kind of interchangeable, these two.
Yeah.
Then we have Greta. She's fantastic. She works 1 day a week. Terrence Farmer, who's also plays with Parker Lewis. Troy Kunkler, who is the craziest drummer I've ever seen. Lots of musicians, because we pull some of our staff from upstairs who like 90% are musicians. Yeah.
Awesome.
Very
Probably
cool.
forgetting
You don't need a password to get in, right? It's a speakeasy, but you can just walk right in.
Well, if you come in saying something ridiculous, that's always inviting. Yeah.
And then you have to find the menu in the book, right?
Yeah, menu is in the book. I won't tell you where, but it's there. I promise we're not just handing you an empty book. And then there may be something of a nice value on the very back inside cover.
Oh.
Yes. So check.
Are you doing anything special for Halloween, like October 26th?
Yes. Not the 26th. On the 29th, we have the Ohio Rum Society. They're coming back. We've hosted them every Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And so they're coming back for their Halloween reunion. And then on the 30th, on Thursday, we are doing a Freak Easy theme where we have the Whirlybirds, who are this great like kind of gypsy jazz band. We're going to do like circus freak themed.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So
Nice.
we'll be all like dressed up like circus freaks, and it's going to be fantastic.
How are you going to dress? Do you know yet?
I don't. Maybe like a clown.
No,
Or maybe
that's
I
too
can,
easy.
I know, but I guess I can just wear a wig and get away with anything. So I could.
Or not wear a wig and be the strong man.
There you
Ooh.
go. That's a good
I
one.
think I'm too scrawny for straw man.
No, you're not.
But no, we have a friend of mine's going to be the bearded lady, and we have Troy, who I mentioned earlier. He has this alter ego called Dr. Strange Luva, and he was actually there for our Valentine's Day, and he was a love therapist. And he's not a licensed therapist at all. And we tried to make it obvious of that, but so many people came spilling their hearts to him.
Oh,
and
man. I wish you would have had a microphone.
I
That
know,
would have
we
been
really
awesome.
needed to mic that. But he actually did a great job, and people were walking away like, thank you, Mr. Luva. So maybe he'll come back. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Okay, PJ, give us your next story.
Okay. So when I worked at Home Fair, it was not designed to be cocktail centered at all. And we would have like 2 bottles of Prosecco during brunch when we needed like 15. So we'd run out almost immediately, and we would just be only breaking the ice of hungry, hungover brunch patrons. And I had mimosas pouring in the ticket well, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? So I would just take whatever white wine we had, and I would charge it in a soda siphon and and make mimosas out of that.
That's pretty
And
brilliant.
it worked. No one was upset. No one was mad. I had plenty myself after brunch. And so I guess the story with that one is you can always do great things. You just have to be a little resourceful, and people will be happy with you.
That's amazing.
That's a good story.
All right. Well, PJ, thank you so much for doing our show.
Yeah,
We really appreciate
so
it.
happy to be
Thank
here.
you for making us this inflating Caesar's ego. It was so delicious. And listeners, definitely get to the light of Seven
Strong cocktail.
Matchsticks.
It's okay.
And PJ will, or one of his coworkers will mix you up a fabulous cocktail, or take one of his classes at the Franklin Park Conservatory. I think that's it. So Blair, take us out.
We'd like to thank our producer, Mr. Greg Hansberry, and the original music by The Biographer. Remember to check out the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour at columbuscraftcocktailtour.com for upcoming tour dates and special events. We also post our Women in Whiskey series. We're doing those on a monthly basis, currently at the Westin Great Southern.
Our next one is in November, Talking Turkey.
Talking Turkey on November 12th.
Talk about the history of women and wild turkey and
And celebrating the fact that Mr. Russell has been with the distillery for 65 years now.
yeah, and his
This year.
wife encouraged him to take the job there.
Because she worked there first.
You know what? Behind every great man, there's a greater woman. That's how it is.
Obviously. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And always be cocktail curious.
Cheers.
Cheers.